Okay, let's get into it. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Today, we're moving into some really profound territory. We're looking at this systematic process, a really methodical way of, as the source material calls it, breaking the habit of being yourself.
Hmm.
It's all done through a very structured form of, well, self-directed change.
It is, and for anyone who's been following along with the philosophical and the biological groundwork we've covered before, this is it. This is the moment.
This is the how-to.
This is the how-to. The mission here is to move from just understanding why this works to actually executing the how. We need to learn how to get past that analytical mind, that conscious, critical part of us.
Right, the one that's always judging.
Exactly. To get to the subconscious, which is, where all those deeply ingrained habits and emotional patterns actually live.
And the goal here isn't just some quick fix, right? It's a fundamental internal change.
It's radical. You're aiming to create a new internal state, a new future, really, that is completely independent of what's happening in your outside world. So you're saying we get to a point where you actually dissociate from your known reality. You shed the old self to make room for a new mind.
That's the idea. And look, when you start this process, you are deliberately pruning old neural pathways. That takes real commitment.
And I bet it feels weird, uncomfortable.
It does. The sources are very clear on this. You will feel unsettled, and that resistance is totally normal. It's just your body.
The body, which has become the mind.
Precisely. It's been conditioned by all your repetitive thoughts and feelings, and now it's resisting this new training. So patience is it's absolutely essential.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture, the philosophy behind it. When we talk about this meditation, what's its main goal? Why so demanding?
Its main goal is actually pretty singular. It's to completely pull your attention away from what they call the big three.
The big three: environment, body, and time.
That's it. Your environment, your body, and the passage of time. When you can successfully minimize those, your pure thought, your intention, becomes the only thing left.
And that creates the perfect incubator for change, because you're no longer just reacting to stuff outside of you.
Exactly.
Okay, but let me ask this. Isn't there a risk that by focusing so much on eliminating the big three, that we're just, checking out of reality instead of changing it?
That's a great question, but the intention is different. You're not checking out, you're checking in. The big three are what define the old self. I mean, think about it. If you focus on your body, you feel all the familiar aches and pains from your past.
Right, and your environment triggers all the old associations of who you are.
And time just keeps you stuck, anticipating the future or remembering the past. We're trying to break free of all that. We want to get into the creative present moment.
And to do that, you have to get past that analytical mind, that barrier, because that's the only thing stopping you from getting to the subconscious programs.
Precisely. If you want to change your habits, you have to bypass that filter. Otherwise, you're just recycling the same old thoughts that created the problem in the first place.
I really like how the sources frame this whole thing as a skill. A huge skill, yes, but something you can master by breaking it down into small steps.
You're aiming for the body to memorize what the mind is learning. That's the definition of procedural memory. It's a powerful concept.
And that golf analogy they use is perfect. It just illustrates it so well. If you try to think about 10 things at once for your golf swing, head down, knees bent, shoulders square,
You're paralyzed.
totally paralyzed. And that overwhelm is what stops most people. But if you master just one thing at a time,
Then eventually it all integrates into one single fluid motion.
Yeah.
It becomes automatic.
it's just like learning a complex recipe. At first, you're tracking every single step, measuring, stirring, watching the clock. But after you've done it enough, it stops being separate tasks. It all just emerges.
It becomes an integrated body-mind skill. You go from thinking about how to cook to just being the cook.
Yeah.
That's the foundation for this whole 7-step program.
Okay, so let's go from the philosophy to the practice, the 7-step program. This whole thing is based on science, right?
Absolutely. The order of the steps is designed specifically to help you memorize it. And, this is the critical part, to build a new neural network for this change.
This is where we get into Hebb's law, that whole fire and wire thing.
Yeah, and it's simpler than it sounds. Neurons that fire together wire together. So by learning the steps, giving them your attention, and practicing them over and over,
You're literally building the physical connections in your brain to support your new self.
you are. This systematic approach, it guarantees you build that new foundation correctly.
And they provide a 4-week pacing guide, which seems like a great starting point, but they do stress that you should go at your own pace.
It's not a competition. The only thing that's non-negotiable is that you have to practice all the steps you've already learned before you add a new one.
That snacking is what makes it strong.
It is.
Okay, but before we even get to step one, there's this preparation step, the right stuff. You have to use a notebook. What's that about?
This is your roadmap. It's so important. It has two parts. First, you write down the limiting thoughts, the emotional states, basically the self you want to
Next,
change.
you get it all out on paper.
And second, you write down the specific future you want to create, the ideal thoughts, the elevated emotions that go with it. Reviewing this right before you meditate it sets a laser-focused intention.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that sets the intention. Now, the timeline.
Okay, week one. This is all foundational work. The focus is 100% on step one, induction. You do this every single day. This is the technique that helps you consciously slow your brain waves down into that coherent alpha state.
The gateway to the subconscious.
That's your launch pad.
Okay, so week two, we've got our launch pad. Now we jump into the real self-correction work. You practice step one, and then you add 3 new steps. Step two, recognizing. Step three, admitting and declaring. And step four, surrendering.
And this is where the real work starts. Recognizing that step two means you have to identify and name that specific emotional state you fall into. Is it guilt? Is it resentment?
And step three, admitting and declaring, is just being brutally honest about it.
Ruthlessly honest. You declare that pattern out loud or mentally. You acknowledge that this old program has been running your life.
Then we get to surrendering, step four. That one, that's the hardest one for me to wrap my head around. What does it even mean to surrender an emotion?
It means you acknowledge that emotion, let's say it's anger, was tied to some past event, but that it no longer serves you. You consciously decide to release its chemical signature from your body.
Wow, so you're literally telling your body, I'm not using this energy anymore. You're letting go of the old self.
That's it. It's a physical act of letting go.
That's intense. You're basically auditing your emotional baggage and then just dissolving it. Okay, so then in week three, we're practicing steps 1 through 4, and now we add step 5, observing and reminding, and step 6, redirecting.
Right. So step 5 is where you really become the observer of your own mind. The moment you let go of that big emotion like anger, smaller habitual negative thoughts are going to try to sneak back in.
So the body's so used to them.
Exactly. So observing is just catching those thoughts. And the reminding part is you consciously saying, nope, that thought is the old program. I don't think that way anymore.
So if I just surrendered anger and then a spiteful thought about my boss pops into my head, step 5 is where I catch it.
You catch it.
Okay.
And then step 6, redirecting. It's the active part. You stop that thought cycle right in its tracks. You are interrupting the firing and wiring of that old neural network. You're actively pruning the old self. It's hard, but it's absolutely crucial.
Okay, and then week 4, we bring it all together, practice steps 1 through 6, and then you add the final piece, step 7, creating and rehearsing.
This is the culmination. You've done all the hard work of clearing out the old stuff. Now you access that creative present moment and you actively install the new self. You mentally and emotionally rehearse who you want to be. You think the new thoughts, you feel the new emotions, gratitude, joy, and you just repeat it until it feels completely real.
And because you did all that surrender and observation work before, the new thoughts and feelings actually have a place to land. They can start firing and wiring new pathways.
You're literally installing new software.
Yeah.
And the source material offers 2 ways to do this. You can use guided audio sessions, which is great.
Or you can use the scripts they provide in the back. You can read them, memorize them, or even record them in your own voice, which is a cool idea.
It's all about empowering you, the learner, which is why the preparation phase is just as detailed. Before you even get to step 1, you have to tackle the big 3 in a really practical way. First up, mastering your environment.
You have to be ruthless with this. Find a secluded, private location, minimal distractions.
And so important, this space needs to represent growth, a new future, not some, torture chamber where you have to go do your chores.
And we absolutely cannot ignore the power of association. The example they give of the person who kept falling asleep meditating in bed it's perfect.
It's the law of association plus the law of repetition. For years, your brain has hardwired bed equals sleep. So the moment you lie down there to be quiet, your body just unconsciously takes over and pushes you into oblivion.
The takeaway is so simple. Don't meditate in your bedroom. Definitely not in your bed. And beyond that, you have to eliminate all the other stimuli.
Yeah, put up a Do Not Disturb sign, silence your phone, your computer, no calls, no texts, no emails, get rid of strong smells, make sure the temperature's right. And you can even use a blindfold or earplugs, maybe some soft instrumental music if that helps you get into that trance state.
Okay, environment. Conquered. Next is mastering the body, or as they say, putting the body away.
The position is key here. You need to be sitting upright. Totally vertical back, erect neck, uncrossed arms and legs. A regular chair is best. This position helps keep you alert. Stay away from recliners or, again, the bed, because you'll just fall asleep.
And do all the simple checks beforehand, right? Use the restroom, wear loose clothes, take off your watch, address hunger or thirst before you start.
And this brings us to something that confuses a lot of people. Head nodding. People panic. They think they're failing when their head starts to nod.
But it's actually a good sign.
It's a great sign. It means your brain is successfully slowing down into those deeper alpha and theta states.
It's just the body's old programming kicking in. It's used to going to sleep when that happens.
Exactly. The body is trying to take back control. But if you keep practicing while sitting upright, you recondition it. The nodding eventually stops because the body learns the new command. You've mastered it.
Okay, that leaves us with the last two. Mastering time and mindset.
For timing, your brain is most receptive right after you wake up and right before you go to sleep. So the recommendation is to start by doing it once a day, same time every morning if you can, to build a rhythm.
And managing the duration is how you conquer time. You have to carve out enough of it so the clock doesn't become a distraction. Review your notes first. The induction alone takes 10 to 20 minutes. And as you add steps, you'll eventually get up to 40, maybe 60 minutes total.
So if you find yourself checking the time, you haven't overcome it yet. A really great practical tip is to set a timer for 10 minutes before you absolutely have to be done. It gives you a gentle nudge to wrap up smoothly.
And finally, the ultimate challenge. Mastering the ego, the analytical mind. That part of you that is just obsessed with external reality.
It's a machine. It's always anticipating the future meetings, flights, kids, or remembering the past. Old arguments, old hurts.
This is that internal battle. The ego just wants to stay locked into what it knows. I think anyone who's tried to meditate knows that feeling. Your mind isn't on your grand goals. It's remembering you have to pick up milk.
That mental tedium is the real fight. Your job is to gently settle that mind down, to go beyond all that noise, and to enter the creative present moment where you can finally do step 7.
Which brings us to the final word on just getting through it, perseverance. We know we have to use repetition to build the neural network, and we have to master our environment, body, and time. But when you're sitting there and your body is fidgeting and your mind is racing, what's the mindset you need to have?
You have to see the body as this separate thing that's just been conditioned by an unconscious mind. If it bucks like a wild horse, your job is just to gently settle it down, settle it into the present moment. This is active reconditioning. You're telling it, you are no longer in charge, I am.
So since the body was conditioned automatically, the responsibility to retrain it falls completely on you, the conscious mind.
It does, and you have to be determined. You have to be persistent, and you have to approach it with a sense of joy, of excitement. Every single time you consciously settle your body down, that is a victory. You're working towards the point where the body finally, ultimately surrenders to you as its master. And that gives you total freedom to create your new future.